Broad Street Review podcast is an extension of Broad Street Review, Philly's home for arts, culture, and conversation, an online arts and culture journal covering the greater Philadelphia area. I'm your host, Darnell Radford. Today on the podcast, we continue our annual coverage of the Philadelphia Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts annual event, The Arts Affair, May 15th at Rec Philly. Here is my interview with members of the PVLA for the Arts Affair. Oh, before we get started, stay tuned until the end of the podcast to learn how you can win 2 tickets to this year's The Arts Affair on May 15th. On with the show. And welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Darnell Radford, and today I'm in the virtual studio with the Philadelphia Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts, and we are talking about the upcoming The Arts Affair, which is the event of all events for every year. Broad Street Review has been a proud media sponsor over the past couple of years, and so we've had this chat every year to kind of get an idea of like what to expect from the Arts Affair and how to get everyone excited and in that room. So we're here with representatives from the PVLA, and we'll just go around with introductions. We'll start with Nan.
Darnell, thank you so much for inviting us today, and thanks to you and everyone at Broad Street Review for your partnership. I know it goes back some years, and we're really grateful for that, so thank you. My name is Nan Latona. I'm the Executive Director at PVLA, and I just came on board in August, so out of the 3 of us, I'm the newbie.
Okay, we'll go to Gabrielle.
Hi, Darnell. Thank you also for hosting us and for giving us this platform to talk about our event. I am on the board of PVLA, and even more importantly and excitingly, I have been practicing law for 30 years, and I have been a volunteer lawyer for PVLA for the entire 30 years I've been a practicing lawyer. So I have a long and really awesome association with PVLA.
Great. Kina.
Hi, my name is Shakina B. I'm a current sitting board member of PVLA, and thank you so much for providing this platform for us to talk about the really cool things that we're about to discuss in a couple of minutes, and I'm glad that you will not Wendy Williams us. No shade to her.
Yeah. We always want to make a nice, easy, and fun conversation here at Broad Street Review. On the podcast, at least. So, tell us about the PVLA this year. Give us a year in review.
Who wants to go first?
Should I take that one?
Take it away.
This is my dog and pony show, which I've been doing quite frequently since I started. But the past year has been a interesting one of transition. So I knew the staff has recently expanded to include myself as the full-time executive director. We also have a full-time coordinator of legal services, a part-time marketing person, and a part-time data person. So things have changed in terms of how we run the organization. We're doing a lot of educational research, and that's a big priority for us right now. And moving into the future is to do what we can to equip artists and creatives and arts and cultural organizations with information they need that might address some very basic issues that they could ward off before it becomes the catastrophe and emergency when they're like, oh my gosh, I really need to talk to someone now. So we're doing a lot of workshops with different arts organizations and consortiums and funders and foundations to hopefully just provide some just basic information for the arts community. And I'm sure as you're aware, 100% of our clients are all artists. We're the only organization that provides legal services to the arts and culture community in the city. And in spite of pandemics and crazy political goings on and this, that, and the other thing, we could say that and proudly say that we've never faltered in our ability to provide services. So we're very, very proud of that. And the Arts Affair is our big fundraiser for the year. I do talk a lot, Darnell. So you can give me like a sign if it's like or like pass the next person because I'm not shy.
You're doing great, man.
You're doing great. But before we get into the Arts Affair, I just wanted to ask. Lawyers are getting a lot of attention in the media right now, and I'm just wondering what the conversations are in the PVLA. How are you receiving this information, and how are you responding, if you are responding?
It's interesting because we have not had a lot of client inquiry relating to the current political climate. However, I'm engaged with other public law service organizations through a group that I'm a part of with the Philadelphia Bar Association, and also just being a part of the nonprofit arts and culture, just the general nonprofit community in Philadelphia. There's just a lot of fear of just not knowing like how things, like when is the ball going to drop and how is it going to affect me and my organization. We're really seeing just a lot of commonly seen issues. So the inquiries we typically get are related to business formation, which way to go, LLC, sole proprietorship, am I a nonprofit? Like how to create a business out of my creative work. The other piece of that is just contractual review. Reviewing contracts for our clients is something we do quite frequently. And then the other most popular area that we get requests for assistance with is around the area of intellectual property and copyright in particular. But I'm sure Gabrielle has, being an attorney and then like working with other nonprofit organizations, has a very different lens that she's seeing the world through right now.
Thanks, Nan. I mean, I wish I had something more interesting to add, but what's really interesting, and maybe why I've been a volunteer lawyer for so long, is because my practice really mirrors what PVLA does. I represent artists and creatives who maybe are a little bit further along in their career, so they can afford, or maybe they're not even eligible for pro bono services through PVLA anymore. So I, like you and like PVLA, I am seeing some concerns around nonprofits and around organizations and how they talk about their diversity, equity, and inclusion practices and what that's going to look like. And so I'm, and I think maybe all of us in this room right now are getting all kinds of, marketing about programming and, educational programming about how to deal with diversity, equity, and inclusion in today's political climate. And that's certainly a big concern for everybody. But as far as in terms of things like actual content, like the content of what PVLA's clients are doing or the content of what my clients are doing, that really hasn't come up at all, at least in my practice or what I've seen. And, I don't know if that's we're just waiting for the shoe to drop. But I haven't seen that at all, thank goodness. And it's not that my clients aren't doing controversial things. So just really crossing my fingers that that's, how it's going to be.
Yeah, I guess that's a good sign. I've been in many conversations with artists now, and the particulars of the NEA, the sort of washing of like real points of coverage and of interest, and it's an odd situation to be in. You know, and so I'm just wondering if artists are reaching out more and thinking about, like, maybe I have to figure out how to, establish myself more independently and maybe reach beyond the partnerships with the organizations because of the struggles that they're already dealing with and the uncertainty that they have to go through now. And I'm just wondering what the climate is for that. And
I could tag in on that tip.
yeah, I'll let you follow me on this. And I don't, for the listeners who've been listening for a while, thank you. I do ask these questions of the PVLA every year because I want you to see how consistent the PVLA is, and also just to remind you of what they are here to support you with. So I'm glad that that response never changes, no matter what is going on here, which is really great. So now I'll toss it to Shakina.
Bam, I caught it. Um, as a sitting board member, I also was a former client of PVLA for not one but two incidences where PVLA successfully represented me, and one of intellectual property, i.e., copyright, was the first case. The second one was related to getting paid from an institution. And PVLA made sure that I had the outcome that I was happy with having. So the changes now in terms of institutions, I'm noticing a coalescence of arts institutions now deciding to form more relationships because we're literally going to be sharing from whatever pots of resources collectively. We're noticing that organizations are restructuring their financial practices because diverse revenue is key to not be heavily dependent upon just federal and or grants. The next thing is with artists as it pertains to the landscape, which a good portion of our revenue by being diverse inherently, we realize we can't just be 1099 workers just to the institutions unless it is with the corporate entities that we are formed in. And I'm not an accountant or an attorney, but I will say the tax liabilities are a lot better in terms of having your own corporate entity and being able to justifiably write off things. And as you see with some of the funding from the state level and the federal level, having that legitimacy and filing your taxes was paramount in getting the types of support that are necessary. The big fear that's happening is that we may end up in a potential, which I've talked to about a lot of artists recently. They're concerned about, hey, what if there's another lockdown of some sort, maybe not relating to a unique pandemic circumstance, but what if it's a martial law situation that also could create a disruption? We're seeing a disruption kind of, splitting at the seams, but just something that would just cut everything off. And now we do have some means of how to pivot in terms of virtual access, but all art is not quite virtual in its creations or how we impact the community. So we just have to be flexible, keep in mind with our financial fiduciary practices and making sure that we diversify our income pots.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and you're right about those partnerships. I work at Theater Exile during the day, and we've been having many conversations with other organizations about how we could work together, which is, ultimately what we wanted to do as an organization anyway. It's just more essential now, and I think it's going to be a great way for all of our facilities to be full of art, which is what we wanted anyway. So I hope those conversations end up being fruitful, and we see many more paths forward. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I also I just want to sort of give a shout out of encouragement to working artists out there. Artists they hold up a mirror to society, and they reflect back to us what's going on. And in times of turmoil and uncertainty, I think artists' work is more important than ever, which is another reason I'm so glad PVLA is here to support them, and why I hope that people listening to this will support PVLA. What we do is we create like an environment where artists can do what they do. And in times like this, I just feel like it's just more important than ever.
Absolutely. So now let's talk about the Arts Affair. So, as I said before we began, the last Arts Fair was on the campus of University of the Arts, one of the last events in Hamilton Hall. And while we were there to be joyful and kind of look at the year, there were many people who were in attendance who were directly affected by that news and the way it came out. It affected the arts community as a whole in a very very somber way. But now we're moving into 2025, and we have a new location partner. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to be at Rec Philly, which is super exciting. For those that have never been, it's a really cool kind of creative co-producing space. And Shakina is curating all the entertainment for the evening. There's a lot of wild stuff that's going to be happening. A lot of not too wild stuff too. So people who aren't into the wild should not be intimidated by me using the word wild. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And the guys over at Rec are excited. They've been wonderful partners with us. And, to everyone's point, just about collaborating and, resource sharing. I would hope that regardless of whether there's a pandemic or, I mean, God forbid there's like martial law. And I think that's probably an extreme concern, but, we should, especially in the arts, we all should be supporting each other and lifting each other up and sharing resources. And there's definitely more power in partnership than there is in competition, I believe. We're excited to be at Rec. It's a really cool space. We're doing it a little bit differently this year. It's not quite as gala-ish. So the event is designed more as a party for everyone to come to and just have fun and support PVLA, and for our sponsors who are our stakeholders that contribute a lot of money to us so that we could kind of keep doing the work that we're doing. We're having a little reception for them at the front end of the evening. And then it's kind of like free for all party, party down for the majority of the night. So,
Yeah.
and if you want to hear it more specifically about what we have going on, and I'm sure Shakina's like chomping at the bit to talk about it. So.
I think Rec Philly is such a great space. I do believe they kind of describe themselves as a gym for creatives.
Yes, yeah. It's so cool. They have so much stuff. So if you're a filmmaker, and you don't have equipment or photographer, and you need like backdrops or a green screen. I mean, they have all this stuff. It's like, if you're into tech at all, it's like being a kid in a candy store. They have really cool like recording facilities, and they have a little dance studio, and Mural Arts has a space there for visual art making. It's just, it's very fun. So, yeah.
That's great. All right, Shakina, tell us about this entertainment that you're curating.
So when PVLA came up with the term the Arts Affair, and Rec Philly was the selected space, you have to think about it from like Gabrielle, make sure I'm saying what I need to say so I'm not legally
I'll be
approached
the
in a different
beeper.
way. Just think of it as whatever your artistic kink may be. You have a selection it's almost like a positive yet ethical brothel of entertainment. Okay. And you can select from a spectrum of different interactive creative flavors. So not only do we have sexy floating saxophonists, we have movement, we have voice. So just think that all of the five senses, possibly even the spiritual sense, will be impacted in a positive way. And the artists that were hand selected are professional, reliable, creative, diverse, and are reflective of the kinds of artists that PVLA represent and support, period. So it's going to be hosted, of course, by Cookie Diorio. And we know how dope Cookie is, the energy and just her talent and her ability to really touch people. And of course, I said, girl, maybe you could style me for this one. So she's going to be an incredible host. I'm excited for what we have planned. We have specific timed activations that will be going on throughout. So by the time you get into the arts party of the arts fair, you don't want to miss anything. You want to stay from the beginning to the end because each and every single activation has been timed strategically to encourage the monies to come out of your pocket. Like a bordello of choice. Yes.
Where'd my money go?
Here it is.
But I feel great about wherever it went.
Auction. We're going to have a live visual arts auction and take home creations by American Queen, Tiff. And she's going to be creating a piece that is reflective of the current climate today about protecting the arts, preserving the arts, saving the arts. So that's going to be a piece that will be auctioned off. And of course, the proceeds go back to the incredible organization that PVLA is, for the volunteer lawyers, for our general operations, and for our ongoing programming of educating the community about different legal changes that are going to happen with some of the corporate entities. There was a conversation about the bylaws for organizations, maybe updating the bylaws as it relates to the most recent Kennedy Center circumstance. Was that it? The reason? Well, whether that was the reason or not, the fact is it happened, and maybe we need to re-augment our organizing documentation in order to be more protected in this ever-changing climate.
May I mention something else about the Arts Affair that is really exciting and new, which is part of the Arts Affair, which is exciting but not new. Is we recognize our volunteers with recognition awards, and we have an award for solo artists. Solo practitioners, firms, and so on. And this year we are rolling out a brand new award, a Creative Impact Award that we are presenting to Joan Myers Brown, who is the founder of Philadanco, who also was a PVLA client. In fact, PVLA helped form Philadanco for her, and her attorney that she was matched with has become or has remained one of her closest friends. Is on the Philadanco board. They're very, very close, and he'll be there as well. So we're just so excited to have this award because we're lawyers and we're arts. So we need to recognize everyone. And the awards themselves this year, this is cool too, are being produced by an artist. So we're not just going to, go on Amazon and order some, like
Trophy.com.
like a I don't know, a an acrylic sunburst with somebody's name on it. These are beautiful collage pieces that Linda Dubin Garfield, she's a collage artist. She's also a PVLA client. Her organization is called Art Sisters. She's created the actual awards that we will be presenting to those that we are presenting the awards to. So they're going to actually get a piece of her art as the award. So we think that's pretty cool too.
That's great. I love when the award is handmade. They're always great. And we love Cookie DiOrio. The PVLA and Theater Exile share that in common. We do an event called Camp Cookie that we've done. It's a nice variety show. It was a lot of fun. We did it as part of Philly Grit this year, and Cookie is also the MC of our annual event as well. So
that Cookie, she gets around.
Yeah,
she's in demand.
It's very great to have her around. So tell us again, how can people engage with PVLA, and then how can they attend the arts affair?
There are a lot of ways to engage with PVLA. We of course work with, we have about 400 or so attorneys, volunteer attorneys that are, providing pro bono services, at any given time, in a number of different disciplines. So we're always looking for attorney volunteers that have an interest in the arts. It's probably more fun than, doing other kinds of pro bono work. But we also, we're a very small organization with very limited resources. So we do have an internship program, and our interns are helping us with things like, writing an employee manual, creating a board manual, and doing, updating some documents and doing some research and organizing things. I mean, there's just so much to do. So even if someone's interested in volunteering and they're not an attorney, we just got a new volunteer. Actually, we are housed at Culture Works, which is a co-working space for creatives, and creative organizations are also a fiscal sponsor of about like 90 organizations. We are not fiscally sponsored, but we try to tap into, working with our neighbors as much as we can. And we have a new volunteer who's helping us with some web development. So, there's all kinds of things, and board service is a big way for somebody to volunteer if they really want to get involved and kind of want to have a voice in sort of shaping what the organization is. And we have some specific areas that we could, use some support with in that respect. So there is, if you go on our website, which is pvla.org, there is a link there to sign up as a volunteer. You could sign up for our newsletter. You can get a ticket to the arts affair. You could sponsor the arts affair. So the general ticket to the party, it's only $45, and you get all this entertainment and fun things and stuff to take home with you. And it'll be a lot of fun. And for any lawyers out there, or lawyer artists, there are a lot of lawyers that are musicians. I found a lot of them. But I think, Gabrielle, I think you were the one that said the arts affair is the cool lawyers event.
Yeah,
right.
When Shakina was talking through the lineup, I was thinking, for an artist, this is like a party. For a lawyer, this is like a really cool party. And I will also say, because I've been to many lawyer parties, this is absolutely the coolest one.
So there you got it. We have the cool lawyer stamp of approval.
Lawyer stamp of approval. And I also want to say another great way to get involved is by donating.
True, thank you.
Yes, and I also want to say, we like the cool lawyer thing, and all the artists that Shakina is, bringing to the fore, and the clients that we represent. We talk a lot about the artists and the arts community, but we represent poor artists, low-income artists, no different than any legal services organization around the city or around the country for that matter. So it's really important not to like sort of lose that thread in all the talk about the sexy art stuff that we're involved in, because we represent low income artists and low budget arts organizations. And that's really important. So we need money to be able to do the things that we do, to be able to serve that clientele. Like I said, just like any legal services organization, any legal defense organization, or any of the other legal organizations around the city that specialize in any niche of the population, whether it's young people, old people, unhoused people, people with disabilities, et cetera, et cetera. We're just another legal services organization. And that represents a very needy population. And the other thing I will say about that with regard to the arts specifically is it's emerging artists, right? Artists at the beginning of their careers that aren't yet making money and are at the highest risk of getting their work exploited. And just to be able to jump in at that point, and drop some knowledge on our clients and protect them, is just an incredible opportunity that PVLA provides. Like no other organization is as well equipped as we are to do that.
And we're the only organization that deals specifically with this population.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
and I'm
wonderful.
a living testimony of that.
But I wasn't sure whether you were going to talk about the fact that the funds that we raise from this event also, we're not asking artists to participate for free. They're getting paid.
Yeah.
So,
So
they're getting, we respect, artists need to make a living, and we respect that. And,
walking the walk.
Yeah, there we go. We're walking the walk, and we're talking the talk. We're walking the walk and talking the talk.
Absolutely. And thank you for all you do at the PVLA. Thank you for being such champions for the arts community. And thank you for hosting the coolest party of the year for lawyers.
For everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah, you can dance. There's dancing. There's cool DJs. It'll be great.
We're going to turn up.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
We expect to see you there, Darnell.
Pocketbooks, wallets, credit cards, all currency will be, all transactional points of service, points of sales will be received that evening, digitally, physically, and in advance. We will accept all.
Yeah. So turn up and turn out your pockets.
That's right.
For the arts affair.
I'm going to use that soundbite.
There you go. Turn up and turn out.
Yep.
Yeah,
there you go.
I can see the graphic now. It's someone with their pockets turned out. All right, everybody. That's the Arts Affair. It's PVLA's annual event. It's at Rec Philly, which is in the Fashion District.
9th and Market.
Yeah, 9th and Market. May 15th from 6 to 9:30ish.
The party starts at 7.
Okay.
So there's a sponsor reception from 6 to 7. The party starts at 7.
Yeah. You can get tickets and additional information by going to pvla.org. And if you can't make it, maybe buy a ticket so that another artist can come.
Yes.
It's always a great option that PVLA offers, an opportunity to allow more artists to enter the space. And so Nan, Gabrielle, Shekinah, thank you so much for coming back and talking to us about the Arts Affair. This is an event we all look forward to, and very excited to be in that room, just like all the lawyers who want to hang out with the cool artists. We would like to be in there too and celebrate everyone. So thank you all for joining me today. It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Darnell.
Thank you.
Thank you to our guests, the Philadelphia Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts, for joining us on today's podcast. The PVLA has provided a pair of tickets to their next event, the Arts Affair. If you would like a chance to win, visit our website and join our mailing list by May 1st. That's it. It's that simple. On May 2nd, we will announce the winner on social media. The Broad Street Review podcast is an Emory production. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, visit us online at em 1023ry.com. Get involved with Broad Street Review. Head on over to our website at www.broadstreetreview.com to find out how. While you're there, help keep us running and click Donate at the top. There you can also find our social media links. Thank you for your part in keeping the conversation going.